It's 5:47 a.m. and I'm sitting in what was supposed to be our honeymoon suite. Except there was no wedding yesterday. No ceremony, no reception, no first dance, no cutting the cake. Just a phone call 7 days ago that ended with, "I can't marry you," and a dial tone. I'm surrounded by unopened wedding gifts that well-meaning relatives dropped off anyway, staring at a tuxedo I'll never wear hanging on the closet door, and trying to piece together how I went from the happiest I'd ever been to completely destroyed in the span of one conversation. My name is Michael. I'm 29 years old, work as a software engineer, and until last week, I was engaged to the love of my life. Her name I don't even know what tense to use anymore, Olivia. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months, and we were supposed to get married yesterday at 4 p.m. in front of 150 guests at a beautiful venue overlooking the lake. Instead, I spent yesterday in this hotel room alone, watching the clock tick past 4 p.m., imagining what should have been happening at that exact moment. Olivia walking down the aisle, me seeing her in her dress for the first time, exchanging vows, kissing as everyone cheered. Our first dance to The Way You Look Tonight, none of it happened, and I still don't know why. I need to start from the beginning because I keep replaying everything, searching for clues I missed, for signs that this was coming, but I can't find them. Everything seemed perfect, better than perfect. Olivia and I met 4 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. I noticed her immediately. She was wearing this yellow sundress and laughing at something someone said, and I just thought she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. We got introduced, started talking, and ended up sitting on the back porch talking until 2 a.m. while the party went on without us. She was a graphic designer, had just moved to the city 6 months earlier, loved hiking and terrible reality TV and making elaborate breakfasts on Sunday mornings. She was funny and smart and kind, and by the end of that night, I was already falling for her. We went on our first date 3 days later, dinner at an Italian place, then walked around downtown talking for hours. The conversation flowed easily, naturally. There were no awkward silences, no forcing it. It just worked. We became official after about a month, started spending every weekend together, then most weeknights too. 6 months in, she had a drawer at my apartment. A year in, we moved in together. It was the easiest, most natural progression. Every step forward felt right. Our relationship wasn't perfect. No relationship is. We had disagreements about small things. She was messy and I was neat. I was a morning person, and she liked to sleep in. She wanted to go out more than I did, but we worked through everything. We communicated, we compromised, we made each other laugh even when we were annoyed. 2 years in, I knew I wanted to marry her. I started looking at rings, planning the proposal. I wanted it to be perfect, memorable, something she'd tell our kids about someday. I proposed last October, almost exactly a year ago. We'd gone on a weekend trip to the mountains, to this cabin we'd stayed at for our first anniversary. I'd arranged for a photographer to hide nearby. We hiked to this overlook at sunset, and when we got to the top, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She said yes immediately. She was crying and laughing and saying, "Oh my God, yes, yes, yes." I slipped the ring on her finger and she jumped into my arms and we stood there on that mountain holding each other as the sun set behind us. The photographer got the whole thing. We have the photos framed in my apartment. The engagement period was busy, but exciting. Olivia threw herself into wedding planning with enthusiasm I'd never seen from her before. She made Pinterest boards and spreadsheets and color-coded timelines. We looked at venues every weekend until we found the perfect one. She spent hours looking at dresses with her mom and sister and friends. I was involved in the planning too, more than most grooms probably are. I helped design the invitations since I have a background in graphic design from college. I tasted cakes with her. We went to 7 different bakeries before finding the right one. I gave input on flowers, music, the menu. This wasn't just her wedding. It was our wedding, and I wanted to be part of creating it. We had normal wedding stress. Guest list drama with my family wanting to invite distant relatives we barely knew. Budget concerns when costs kept creeping up. A disagreement about whether to have a band or a DJ. We compromised on both. Band for dinner and DJ for dancing later. But nothing major. Nothing that felt like a red flag. The last few months were intense with final preparations. Confirming vendors, finalizing the seating chart, having final dress fittings, breaking in my dress shoes. Olivia seemed more stressed than usual, but I attributed it to normal wedding stress. She'd snap at me occasionally about small things, then apologize later. She'd get overwhelmed looking at her planning binder and need to step away. But everyone told us this was normal. Wedding planning is stressful. The last few weeks before the wedding are the hardest. We had our bachelor and bachelorette parties 3 weeks ago. I went to Vegas with my groomsmen, my brother, 2 college friends, and 2 work friends. It was fun, but honestly, I spent most of the time wishing Olivia was there. I'm not really a Vegas guy. I don't love clubbing or gambling. I missed her the whole weekend. She went to a spa weekend with her bridesmaids. When she came back, she seemed quiet. I asked if everything was okay, and she said she was just tired from the weekend. I believed her. 2 weeks before the wedding, we had our final venue walkthrough and rehearsal dinner planning meeting. Olivia was quiet during the meeting, letting me make most of the decisions. Afterward, I asked if she was okay with everything we'd decided. She said yes, she was fine, just overwhelmed with all the details. It'll all be worth it, I said, squeezing her hand. In 2 weeks, we'll be married and all the stress will be over. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. I noticed, but I didn't push. I thought she was just tired. 1 week before the wedding, exactly 7 days before yesterday, which should have been our wedding day, was when it all fell apart. It started as a normal evening. Wednesday night. I got home from work around 6:30. Olivia was already home, which was unusual. She usually worked until 7 or later. She was sitting on the couch, still in her work clothes, staring at nothing. "Hey babe," I said, leaning down to kiss her hello. "You're home early. We need to talk," she said. Her voice was flat, emotionless. My stomach dropped. Nobody ever says, "We need to talk," before good news. "Okay," I said slowly, sitting down next to her. "What's going on?" She didn't look at me. She stared at her hands in her lap, twisting her engagement ring around her finger. That should have been my first clue. "I can't do this," she said quietly. "Can't do what? The wedding planning? Because we're almost done. Just 1 more week of craziness and then—" "No," she interrupted. "I can't marry you." The room tilted. "What? I can't marry you," she repeated, still not looking at me. "I'm sorry. I can't go through with the wedding." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Olivia, what are you talking about? The wedding is in a week. Everything is planned. Everyone's traveling here. The venue is booked." "I know," she said, and finally looked at me. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying, but she wasn't crying now. She looked empty. "I know it's terrible timing. I know it's going to be a mess, but I can't marry you." "Why?" I demanded. "What happened? Did I do something? Did something change?" "Nothing happened," she said. "Nothing changed. I can't do it. That's not an explanation." I was starting to panic now. "You can't just cancel our wedding a week before and not tell me why? We've been planning this for 8 months. We've been together for 4 years. You can't just—" "I know," she said again. That flat, emotionless tone. "I'm sorry." "Stop saying you're sorry and tell me what's going on." I was standing now, pacing. "Is there someone else? Did you cheat on me?" "No," she said. "There's no one else." "Then what is it? Cold feet? Because that's normal. Everyone gets nervous before their wedding. But that doesn't mean you call it off." "It's not cold feet," Olivia said. "I just don't want to marry you." Those words hit me like a physical blow. "You don't want to marry me? I'm sorry." "Stop apologizing," I shouted. "If you were actually sorry, you'd give me a real explanation. You'd tell me what changed. You'd give me something to understand." "I can't explain it," she said, standing up. "I just know I can't marry you. And I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. How you feel." I repeated incredulously. "What about how I feel? What about the fact that I've spent the last 4 years building a life with you? What about the fact that I love you? What about the fact that we have 150 people coming to our wedding in 7 days?" "We'll cancel everything," she said. "I'll make the calls. I'll handle telling people." "This is insane," I said. "You're acting insane. This isn't like you at all. Something had to have happened. Did someone say something to you? Your mom? Your friends? Did someone put doubts in your head?" "No one said anything," Olivia said. She walked toward the bedroom. "I'm going to pack some things. I'm going to stay with my sister for a while." "You're leaving?" I followed her. "Right now? You're not even going to try to work through whatever this is." "There's nothing to work through," she said, pulling a suitcase out of the closet. "I've made my decision." I watched her pack, feeling completely helpless. This couldn't be happening. It felt like a nightmare. Like I'd wake up any second and Olivia would be next to me in bed and everything would be fine. "Please," I said, and my voice cracked. "Please don't do this. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. We can postpone the wedding if you need more time. We can go to counseling. We can do anything. Just don't leave." She paused in her packing and looked at me. For a second, I saw something in her face. Sadness? Guilt? Regret? But then it was gone, replaced by that empty expression. "I'm sorry, Michael," she said one more time. "I really am. You're a good man, and you deserve someone who wants to marry you. But that person isn't me." She finished packing, zipped up the suitcase, walked past me out of the bedroom, through the apartment, to the door. "Olivia, wait," I started. I'll come back for the rest of my things later, she said. After the wedding date has passed, I think it's better if we don't talk for a while. You can't just leave like this, I said desperately. You owe me more than this. You owe me an explanation. I know, she said. And then she opened the door and walked out. I stood in the doorway watching her walk down the hallway, get in the elevator, disappear. I kept thinking she'd come back, that she'd realize this was crazy and come back. She didn't come back. I went back inside and sat on the couch where she'd been sitting when I came home. Sat there for hours, waiting for her to walk back through the door, waiting to wake up from the nightmare. Around midnight, I started calling her. The first call went to voicemail immediately. She'd turned her phone off. I called 15 more times anyway, sent texts. Please call me. We need to talk about this. I love you. Please come home. No response. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch until the sun came up, trying to make sense of what had happened, trying to figure out what I'd missed. The next morning, reality started to set in. We had a wedding in 6 days, vendors to cancel, guests to notify, money already spent that we'd never get back. I called my mom first. She cried. Then she got angry. How could she do this to you? 1 week before the wedding? That's cruel, Michael. That's beyond cruel. I called my brother. He was shocked, then furious. Want me to talk to her? Because I'll talk to her. I'll tell her exactly what I think. No, I said. Don't. I don't know what good it would do. I called my best man, told him the wedding was off. He was speechless. What? What happened? I don't know, I admitted. She just said she couldn't marry me and left. Jesus, Mike, I'm so sorry. Those words. I'm so sorry. Everyone kept saying them. Like there was nothing else to say. I tried calling Olivia again. Still going straight to voicemail. I texted her sister, asking her to have Olivia call me. Her sister responded. She told me what happened. I'm sorry, Michael. She asked me not to give her messages right now. She needs space. Space. She needed space 1 week before our wedding. I called the venue. Explained the situation. The event coordinator was sympathetic but firm. No refund. The wedding was too close. We'd signed a contract. We'd lose the entire deposit and all the payments we'd made. $15,000 gone. I called the caterer. Same story. No refund. Photographer, band, florist, DJ, cake, transportation, hotel room blocks. Every call was the same. Sorry, too late to cancel. No refunds. Money gone. By the end of the day, I'd lost over $40,000. Money we'd saved for 2 years. Money my parents had contributed. Money her parents had contributed. All of it gone because Olivia decided 1 week before the wedding that she couldn't do it. The guests were harder to call. I'd wake up, look at the guest list, and start calling. Most people were shocked, but you guys seem so happy. Is there anything we can do? Is she okay? That last question bothered me. Is she okay? What about me? I'm the one who got blindsided and abandoned a week before my wedding. But everyone was worried about Olivia. Some people asked if I'd done something. Had I cheated? Had I hurt her? The implication stung. That I must have done something to cause this. That Olivia wouldn't just leave without a reason, but she had left without a reason. Or at least without one she'd share with me. My groomsmen rallied. They came over, brought food and beer, sat with me, tried to distract me with movies and video games, but I couldn't focus on anything. My mind was stuck in a loop, replaying that conversation, searching for clues. I can't do this. I don't want to marry you. You deserve someone who wants to marry you. But that person isn't me. What did that mean? When had I stopped being that person? When had she decided she didn't want to marry me? I went through her belongings that were still at the apartment, looking for, I don't know, a journal where she'd written about her doubts, evidence of an affair, something to explain the inexplicable. I found nothing, just her clothes, her books, her random stuff. No smoking gun, no explanation. 3 days before the wedding, Olivia's mom called me. I'd been avoiding her calls because I didn't know what to say, but she kept calling, so I finally answered. Michael, she said, and she was crying. I am so sorry. I don't know what's gotten into her. I tried to talk to her, but she won't listen. Did she tell you why? I asked, desperate. Did she give you a reason? No, her mom said. She just keeps saying she can't go through with it. She won't explain why. I told her she's making the biggest mistake of her life. I told her you're wonderful and she's throwing away a good man. But she won't budge. I don't understand, I said, and I was crying too now. Everything was fine. We were happy. I thought we were happy. You were happy, Olivia's mom said. I saw you two together. You were so in love. I don't know what happened. I wish I did. After we hung up, I felt even more confused. Even her own mother didn't know why. Even the people closest to Olivia couldn't explain what was happening. 2 days before the wedding, I went to her sister's apartment. I knew Olivia was staying there. I needed to see her face to face. I needed her to look me in the eye and tell me why. Her sister answered the door looking uncomfortable. Michael, I don't think... I just need to talk to her, I said. Please. Just 5 minutes. Her sister hesitated, then called back into the apartment. Liv, Michael's here. Olivia came to the door. She looked terrible. Pale, dark circles under her eyes. Her hair pulled back in a messy bun. For a second, I felt a surge of hope. She looked miserable. Maybe she'd changed her mind. Maybe she regretted her decision. What do you want? She asked. Her voice was tired. I want to understand, I said. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me why you're doing this. I already told you. No, I interrupted. You gave me a non-explanation. I can't do this. I don't want to marry you. Those aren't reasons. Those are just statements. I need to know why. After 4 years together, after planning a wedding, after building a life together, you owe me that. Olivia looked at her sister, who took the hint and disappeared back into the apartment. Olivia stepped out into the hallway and closed the door behind her. I don't know how to explain it in a way that will make sense to you, she said. Try, I pleaded. Please, just try. She was quiet for a long moment. Do you remember about a month ago when we were having dinner, and you were talking about buying a house? About how we should start looking after the wedding? Yeah, I said. What about it? And you were talking about how you wanted a yard for kids to play in, and a garage workshop, and a neighborhood with good schools. You had it all planned out. Okay. And I realized while you were talking that I couldn't see it, Olivia said. I tried to picture it. Us in that house, with those kids, living that life. And I couldn't. It felt like you were describing someone else's life. So you don't want kids? I asked, because we can talk about that. If you're not ready, it's not about kids, she said. It's about everything. The house, the marriage, the future you've planned. I realized I don't want any of it. Since when? I demanded. Since when don't you want to marry me? Because you seemed pretty happy when you said yes to my proposal. You seemed happy planning the wedding. I thought I wanted it, Olivia said. I really did. I got caught up in the excitement of the engagement and the wedding planning. But the closer we got to the actual wedding, the more I realized I was going through the motions. I was doing what I was supposed to do, not what I actually wanted to do. And what do you actually want to do? I asked. I don't know, she admitted. But I know it's not this. Not marrying me, I said flatly. Not marrying anyone right now, she corrected. It's not about you, Michael. You're a great guy. You'd be someone's perfect husband. But I don't think I want to be anyone's wife. Not now. Maybe not ever. Then why did you say yes when I proposed? I asked, anger creeping into my voice now. Why did you let it get this far? Why didn't you have this revelation 6 months ago, or 4 months ago, or even 2 months ago? Why did you wait until 1 week before the wedding to figure out you don't want to get married? Because I kept thinking the feeling would go away, she said. I kept thinking I was just nervous, that it was cold feet, that once we got married everything would be fine. But it didn't go away. It got stronger. And I realized if I went through with the wedding, I'd be making a huge mistake. I'd be trapping both of us in a marriage I didn't really want. So instead, you destroyed me a week before our wedding, I said. That's better? No, she said, tears forming in her eyes. It's not better. There's no good way to do this. But going through with a wedding I don't want would have been worse. For both of us. How is this better for me? I shouted. How is being abandoned a week before my wedding better than you having cold feet and working through it? I'm sorry. Stop saying you're sorry! I was yelling now, and her sister's neighbors were probably hearing every word. But I didn't care. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give me back the money we lost. Sorry doesn't undo the humiliation. Sorry doesn't heal the fact that you let me believe we were building a future together, when apparently you've been having doubts for months. I know, Olivia said, crying now. I know I handled this terribly. I should have said something sooner. But I kept hoping what? That you'd magically start wanting to marry me? That's not how love works, Olivia. Either you love someone enough to commit to them or you don't. I do love you, she said. Apparently not enough, I said bitterly. We stood there in silence. She was crying. I felt empty, wrung out. I think you should go, Olivia finally said. This isn't helping. Nothing is going to help, I said, because in 2 days I'm supposed to stand at an altar and watch you walk down the aisle. And instead I'll be, what? Sitting in an empty hotel room? Explaining to everyone why you left? I'm sorry, she said again helplessly. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You know what the worst part is? I still love you. Even after all this, even after you destroyed everything, I still love you. And I'd still marry you if you changed your mind. She looked away. I'm not going to change my mind. I know, I said. and I turned and walked away before she could see me break down completely. That was 2 days ago. Yesterday was supposed to be our wedding day. I woke up in this hotel room, the one I'd booked for our wedding night, and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My phone was full of messages. Friends checking in, family offering support. Even some of the guests who'd already traveled here asking if I wanted company. I didn't want company. I wanted Olivia to walk through the door and say it had all been a terrible mistake. That she loved me. That she wanted to marry me after all. She didn't walk through the door. At 2 p.m., 2 hours before the ceremony should have started, I put on my tuxedo. I don't know why. Some masochistic need to see what I would have looked like. To see what should have been. I looked good. The tux fit perfectly. I looked like a groom. I took a photo and almost sent it to Olivia. This is what you're missing. But I deleted it instead. What would be the point? At 4 p.m., I opened the bottle of champagne that was supposed to be for after the ceremony. Sat on the bed in my tuxedo, drinking champagne alone, imagining how the day should have gone. By now we'd be married. By now we'd be at the reception, making toasts, cutting the cake, having our first dance. By now I'd be the happiest I'd ever been. Instead, I was alone in a hotel room, drinking champagne out of the bottle, trying not to completely fall apart. I got texts throughout the evening from my groomsmen. Thinking of you, man. This sucks. I'm so sorry. Want us to come over? I told them I needed to be alone. I needed to sit with this grief, this humiliation, this complete devastation of every plan I'd had for my future. Around midnight, I got a text from an unknown number. I opened it, hoping irrationally that it was Olivia from a new phone. It wasn't. It was from one of her bridesmaids, a girl named Stephanie, who I'd met several times during wedding planning. I know I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I feel like you deserve to know. Olivia has been having doubts since right after you got engaged. She told me at her bachelorette party that she didn't know if she could go through with it. I told her she was just nervous, that everyone has doubts. I didn't realize she was serious. I'm so sorry. You deserved better than what she did to you. I stared at that text for a long time. Since right after we got engaged, almost a full year of doubts. A full year of her smiling and planning our wedding while secretly questioning if she wanted to marry me. How do you do that? How do you look at someone every day, tell them you love them, plan a future with them, all while knowing you don't want it? I understand cold feet. I understand pre-wedding jitters, but this wasn't that. This was deception. This was letting me believe in a future she never intended to give me. I typed out a response to Stephanie. Thank you for telling me. Then I added, did other people know? Did everyone know except me? She responded quickly. I don't think everyone knew, but some of the bridesmaids suspected something was wrong. She'd get quiet when we talked about marriage and the future, but none of us thought she'd actually cancel. We all thought she was just nervous, so I was the last to know. The groom, who should have been the first person she talked to about her doubts, was the last person to find out that she didn't want to marry me. I drank more champagne, scrolled through photos on my phone from the past 4 years. Our first date, moving in together, holidays with each other's families, the proposal, engagement photos, all of it leading up to a wedding that never happened. I came across a video from the proposal. The photographer had sent us a short video clip along with the photos. I hadn't watched it in months. I pressed play. There I am, getting down on one knee. There's Olivia, her hands over her mouth in surprise. I'm saying the speech I'd prepared, talking about how she's my best friend, how I want to spend my life with her, how she makes me happier than I ever thought possible. And then, Olivia Marie Thompson, will you marry me? Yes, she shouts in the video, laughing and crying. Yes, oh my God, yes! I'm slipping the ring on her finger and she's kissing me and we're both laughing and crying and so happy. So completely genuinely happy. Was she already having doubts then? When she said yes, was there a part of her that knew she didn't mean it? Or did the doubts come later? I'll never know. And that might be the hardest part. Not knowing when I lost her. Not knowing when she stopped wanting to be with me. Not knowing if there was a specific moment or if it was gradual. I finished the champagne around 2 a.m., took off the tuxedo and hung it back up. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Today, well, technically yesterday now since it's almost 6 a.m., was supposed to be the first day of the rest of my life with Olivia. We should be waking up in this room as husband and wife. We should be packing for our honeymoon flight this afternoon. 2 weeks in Italy, a trip we'd been planning for months. Instead, I'm alone. And Olivia is where? Still at her sister's? Has she moved back to the apartment to get her stuff while I'm here? I haven't been back to the apartment since the day before the wedding. I can't face it. Can't face the space we shared. The reminders of the life we were building. My parents have been calling constantly. My mom wants me to come stay with them for a while. My brother wants me to come to his place. Friends have offered their couches. Everyone wants to help, to fix this, to make it better. But nothing can fix this. Nothing can undo what happened. Nothing can give me back the future I thought I had. I keep thinking about what Olivia said. I don't think I want to be anyone's wife. Not now, maybe not ever, maybe not ever. So all those times she talked about our future, about kids and growing old together. She was lying, or did she believe it at the time and then change her mind? And if she changed her mind, when? And why? What changed? Was it something I did? Something I didn't do? Was I too boring? Too predictable? Did I not give her enough space? Enough adventure? Or was it nothing to do with me at all? Was it all her own issues with commitment and the future and figuring out what she wanted? I'll drive myself crazy with these questions. I know I will. Because there are no answers. Olivia made it clear she can't or won't explain herself beyond vague statements about not being able to see the future and not wanting to get married. The sun is starting to come up. I should probably check out of this hotel soon. The honeymoon suite is no longer mine. We only booked it for the wedding night. I'll have to go back to the apartment eventually. Face the reality of living in a space that was meant for two, alone. Figure out what happens to the lease. We're both on it. Figure out what happens to the stuff we bought together. Figure out how to disentangle 4 years of a shared life. I'll have to return the wedding gifts that people sent despite the cancellation. Write thank you notes for the sympathy messages instead of the wedding gifts. Figure out what to do with my tuxedo and her wedding dress. She left it at the apartment in the closet. This beautiful white dress she'll never wear. I'll have to update my relationship status on social media. Remove couple photos or leave them up as evidence of what was. I don't know the protocol for this. I'll have to learn how to be single again. How to be alone again. How to stop thinking in terms of we and us and start thinking in terms of I and me. I'll have to eventually date again, even though the thought makes me sick. And I'll have to explain to new people why I'm so cautious, so guarded. Oh, my ex-fiancé canceled our wedding a week before the ceremony is quite the story. I'll have to rebuild my life from scratch. Find a new normal. Create a future that doesn't include Olivia, even though every future I'd imagined for the past 4 years had her in it. I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know where to start. All I know is that yesterday should have been the best day of my life, and instead it was the worst. All I know is that I'm supposed to be married right now, and instead I'm alone. All I know is that I love someone who decided she didn't want to love me back, and I don't know how to move forward from that. Maybe I don't have to know right now. Maybe it's okay to just sit here in this hotel room, surrounded by unopened wedding gifts, wearing yesterday's clothes, and feel the full weight of what I've lost. Maybe grief doesn't need a plan. Maybe devastation doesn't need answers. Maybe right now, I just need to survive this moment, and then the next moment, and then the next. One moment at a time until eventually, someday, those moments start to hurt less. That's all I can hope for right now. That someday this won't hurt so much. That someday I'll understand. That someday I'll be okay again. But today is not that day. Today, I'm just a man who was supposed to get married yesterday, and didn't.